Hello, I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. In this, the midweek natural gas report, natural gas prices are down just a little bit. They were down much harder overnight, but now have recovered most of those losses, and we're currently sitting at 455.60, down just 9 ticks here, or less than 0.2%. And as you can see from the chart, we're still above the 13 and 48-day period moving averages on the exponential moving averages, and those will act as first support. So that comes in at 427.20. And as you can see right here, we continue this strong upsurge based on colder weather forecasts. And here's the hourly chart. And as you can see, we're holding above the daily pivot at 447.40. And we're looking to see if we can push over the 50% of this particular between these two pivots to get to 467.20. We've got to clear this 457.30 range right here. We haven't been able to kind of get that hourly chart. We're just hoping to do so now and see if we can push out to the upside again. That first resistance is at 467.20. The RSI is turning higher, so it looks like we have the ability to move forward. Let's take a look at some of the front to back spreads. Here's an old one. We thought this thing had possibly bottomed out around 86.7 cents. It continued to decline all the way down to 55 cents, but now look at the last 3 weeks powering back out based on the colder weather forecast. And as you can see, this is Jan versus the April contract, Jan 26 versus April 26. And this looks like it's got some legs to it. And let's look at the LNG markers here. This is JKM, the Japan Korea marker, versus the TTF, the European marker. And it's come in a little bit. Right now, we're currently trading at 36.5 cents. We're still not wide enough premium to the JKM to incentivize U.S. LNG spot cargoes to move from Europe to Asia. And why? Well, Europe is still sitting about 9% below it was its levels last year in storage. We're only at 82.4% full. What's causing this? Germany at only 74.7%, and then Austria at 83.4%. France and Italy are doing much better. Let's take a look at the U.S. temperature forecast, and the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook is warm for the eastern 2/3 of the country. And as you can see, only below normal temperatures in Southern California and the desert Southwest. And let's look at the weather this morning. When you woke up this morning, it was quite chilly for the upper Midwest and across the eastern portions of the country, with the exceptions of Florida and down here along the coast in Texas. And let's look at that weather forecast, because that's what's driving everything. Remember, the December futures contract goes off the board November 25th. Options go off November 24th. So we've got only 12 days before option expiration, 13 days before futures expiration. We'll start to carefully look at how weather's shaping up. And here's the last forecast for the GFS model on November the 28th. And as you can see, colder weather moving through the western part of the country, pushing out this warm air that's sitting over the eastern portion of the U.S. So we've got to keep a careful eye on that, because we've got warmer temperatures ahead of us right now, and then the forecast for colder temperatures and even potentially a polar vortex in December. And let's look at that Arctic air. So we've got plenty of snow and ice covering much of eastern Siberia, and of course now all of Alaska basically, and parts of Canada, including the Canadian Rockies. This ice continues to expand. We're still well below where we were for historical averages, but we're keeping a careful eye on this, the Hudson Bay, the northern approaches, because once those freeze over, the rest of the bay freezes over, and that allows that cold Arctic air to descend straight down into the U.S. Midwest, into the mid-Atlantic states and New England. So keep a careful eye on that over the next few weeks. Here's the status of the U.S. nuclear outages. They're ramping up out of maintenance and refueling much faster than we anticipated. And right now we're currently sitting very carefully here. This is delayed data because of the government shutdown. But as of the 8th, or as of the 9th, 7th, sorry, 13.1 gigawatts. So unfortunately, the data is a little dated. So let's take a look at the stocks. This is the oil and gas E&P sector. These are stocks between $2 and $10 billion in market cap and have a high short float. Well, Northern Oil and Gas joined the party again earlier this week, and guess who's on the list now? BKV, a driller up in the Fort Worth Barnett Shale. And right now, as you can see, it's been green across the entire space. So we've got a crowded field right now of oil and gas E&P stocks that have a high short float. So if weather materializes, CNX, CRK are going to lead the way, and of course, maybe even BKV, which it does have natural gas exposure. So recapping again, for the December spot contract, we're currently sitting at 454.40, down 2 cents right now, 2.1 cents or 0.46%. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.